welcome back our dear viewers. President Sisi, King Abdullah II and President Abbas asserted the need to stop the Israeli incursion into the West Bank and to lift the blockade on the Gaza Strip, and that was the final declaration in which they condemned the continuation and escalation of illegal Israeli practices that violate the international law. To shed more light on the tripartite summit that took place between the three leaders in New Al-Alamein city, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Medhat Mellgi, former Deputy Foreign Minister. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning to you and all to your viewers.
Ambassador Mellgi, how do you see the tripartite summit as it was held in Egypt in New Al-Alamein city, and how do you see the final communique?
Well, actually, the way I see it is, once again, we are reaffirming our position vis-a-vis what's going on in the occupied lands of Palestine. And although this is not the first time, I mean, if we checked the communique that came out of several summits in the last decades, you will find the same, almost the same wording. So the idea actually is that we are reaffirming the position, especially after so many events, and you know, of course, the repercussions of the war in Ukraine and all the international arena that has been moving quite a lot lately. And it was important for the Egyptian leader and the King of Jordan to reaffirm once again the position of their countries vis-a-vis the Palestinian issue.
Also in their meeting, the three Arab leaders stressed their adherence to the Arab Peace Initiative with all its aims. To what extent, sir, are you optimistic after that summit that we could actually move toward a better direction and to stop the Israeli aggression against the Palestinians?
Well, to be honest, I mean, we are always full of hope. I mean, the summit in itself is a hope. Although it's not the first one. As I said, there was so many pleas before to the Israeli counterpart to start serious negotiations to end the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and to end the incursions in the West Bank and in Jerusalem, and all the wording that have been used during in the communique that came out of this summit. Yes. However, the idea is that we haven't seen so far from the Israeli leaders a serious will to go and start a real peace process. Of course, our role as Arabs, first of all, and as you have seen in the last couple of weeks, that there was all the factions of the Palestinians that were here in Alamein, the 30th of July, along with the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, to try to reunite all the Palestinian factions, because this has always been the argument of the Israeli side, that the Palestinians are not united and they are divided, so to whom should we speak? So this is supposedly is our role now, is to make sure that the Palestinian factions are on one side, they are talking in one voice, vis-a-vis the Israeli counterpart.
Indeed. In your opinion, Mr. Ambassador, would Israel actually abide by the recommendation of the summit?
Well, in a short word, I don't see it really happening. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this has been proposed several times before with the same, as I said, wording. The idea is not that. Actually, it was very important for us to reaffirm our position. That's one thing. The second thing is that we have to speak to the international instance, especially the Western countries. I mean, we've seen the Western countries ever since the incursions of the Russian into the Ukrainian land. We have seen a real and serious commitment from the Western world to support Ukraine. I'm not talking about the core of the conflict. I'm just talking about how the West really react when it's convinced with an incursion or an invasion or an injustice, according to his point of view. They really support financially, economically, politically. They even pressure some other countries to follow their lead. All this, we've seen it when it came to the Ukrainian conflict, because it was an invasion of a foreign country into another country. And this is exactly what we have in the Palestinian area. What is the West doing? I don't think they are doing as much as they are doing when it comes to the Ukrainian thing. We want a real commitment from the West to pressure Israel to restart and revive the negotiations based on the international law and the rule of the several resolutions of the United Nations and the Security Council.
Yes.
We haven't seen this yet, and this time it's really the time for them to act and to show their commitment to the peace in general, and not just a certain peace that they are really undertaking.
Yes. How are the unlawful Israeli settlements leaving negative repercussions on the Palestinians, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, as simple as that they will continue with this policy because nobody is deterring them from doing this. They will continue until there will be no more land to negotiate upon. I mean, the two-state solution, each state must have land to exert its power on it. So if there won't be more land, so exactly what are we going to be talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, the Palestinians have to have the land of the 4th of June 1967. This is what have been even reassured once again by the summit. How is that if the Israeli keep confiscating land, keep displacing Palestinians from their land, keep exerting more power on the territory? We've seen recently even when the Saudi government wanted to have a mission, a certain diplomatic mission on the Palestinian lands, and the Israeli rejected the idea. So they are taking power there, and they are enforcing their own law on the land, which is not actually helping at all to achieve a long-lasting peace.
Yeah. Indeed, Ambassador Medhat Mellgi, former Deputy Foreign Minister, thank you so much for your precious input. And our dear viewers, that was our coverage and our comments here about the tripartite summit that took place at New El Alamein city between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, King Abdullah II, and President Mahmoud Abbas, during which they asserted the need to stop the Israeli incursion into the West Bank and to lift the blockade on the Gaza Strip. And the final declaration actually condemned the continuation and escalation of illegal Israeli practices that violate the international law, and it rejected the violation of legal and historical status quo in the occupied city of Jerusalem, Al-Quds. And also in our episode today, we tackled the celebrations marking the Youth Day, which was marked on the 12th of August. Our dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of this edition of The Breakfast Show, brought to you live from our studios here on TV International by myself, Maisti Rabia. Till tomorrow is another quiz. Goodbye. Many thanks.